Good afternoon, everybody. This is Ekta Sehgal Malhotra at the Motherhood Club Talk Show. I'm sure each one of you would have had a great festival and would have had some enthusiasm, some fun, and some break from the routine that we all have been experiencing since March 2020. The Motherhood Club Talk Show believes in bringing out different topics, which are not just topics, but are real life experiences that each and every mother experiences. Some people have a happy journey, some people have a roller coaster ride, and some people are even besides the roller coaster ride, still have a smile on their face. With us today is Tasneem Sinojwala. Welcome, Tasneem, to the Motherhood Club Talk Show. Tasneem is a documentary and a filmmaker, a content writer, a researcher, a director with a company which helps the poultry business by providing them medicine and an initiative that they took to support the farmers and the poultry industry was something called as Egg and Chicken for You. Tasneem has done research work related to women and a lot of strong topics that she believes in. But today, Tasneem is here as a mother of two children, aged 10 and 5. When she had her second born, there was something that she experienced which was different from the first time, something that we all do not want to acknowledge, do not want to accept, even though many mothers experience it, because the word is postpartum depression. The word depression is related to the mental well being of anybody. And when you add postpartum to it, it means the phase of mental challenge or mental health that you experience post you've had a baby. And mind you, postpartum is not something that only the mother experiences. Postpartum is also experienced by father. Many a times we have something called as baby blues, which would last for maybe 2 or 3 days because you're tired, you're anxious, you're fatigued. You're trying to get your hands how to feed the baby, how to manage the baby, more so when you are a first time mother. But if your irritability, your anxiety goes beyond those 2, 3 days, where you have feelings that you do not want to look at the child, where you are feeling of being left all by yourself, definitely is not that because all the attention is going to the baby, but there is something more. And you need to take cues of those symptoms that you experience. So once again, Tasneem, welcome. And the topic that Tasneem has chosen is Motherhood Diaries, Postpartum Depression. So welcome, and Tasneem, I am really looking forward to hear your journey. How was it different when you had the first one vis-a-vis the second? What was it that you experienced? And how did you know that you were going through postpartum depression? And we will talk about this as the conversation proceeds further. So over to you, Tasneem. Please introduce yourself a little more in detail because Tasneem has a lot of accolades to herself. She's done a lot of impactful documentaries and content writing. So I'd like you to share a little bit about that also, Tasneem. So over to you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ekta, for having me over. A very good afternoon to all the visitors here and the audience we have today with us. Okay, as since Ekta has already told uh, quite a lot about me, I'll just add a few things. Yes, I'm blessed to have done a lot of work in different fields. It gives you because of the profession I'm in, it gives us a lot of perspective related to different things, be it, working with women, working with children, working with elderly people, working with in the field of medicines or anything. So yes, I'm blessed. I have a lot of different topics I've covered because of my profession. uh, be it my documentary films or be it the content that I write. I am associated with one of the parenting blogs at present. It is one of the top most parenting blogs in India called the Champa Tree. I'm a content writer there. Then I'm into making content for Sefi Vetmed Private Limited, with a company I'm a director in, and the company which has started this initiative called eggandchickenforyou.com, wherein we are connecting poultry farmers directly to consumers. because as always, it's always the farmers who bear the brunt, be it in the agriculture industry or be it in the poultry industry. They never get their dues. So this initiative again is for the farmers. Okay, now coming back to my being a mother, because that is one very important role which I think, apart from anything that any other hat that I don, that is going to stay with me forever, and I cherish that role very much. uh, Coming to the postpartum part, Ekta, I feel when I had my first baby, I had her at the age of 35. And that entire experience was new to me because, I had never seen a childbirth or a pregnancy or a delivery in my family because I was away studying. I was working here in Delhi. I did my post graduation here. So I was very much cut off from the family. I never saw anybody, during a pregnancy period or the delivery period. So I never had a first hand experience looking at someone in the family. So when I had my own, when I was expecting my first pregnancy, it was after 2 miscarriages. So it was a very precious pregnancy for me. We were very cautious. When I look back, I feel somewhere there was depression then also, but it was not so acute that I could have realized it. But during my second baby, when I was expecting my second child, so somewhere I feel that that depression carried on, and it got triggered more because I was not keeping well. That was one thing. It was a very difficult pregnancy for me, and I would just cry at the drop of a hat. I would just cry. At the slightest thing, tears would start rolling down. I would have fights with my husband. I think during my that pregnancy period, I fought with everybody and anybody. At the slightest thing, I would get offended. I'd become very touchy, very sensitive, and I was not knowing what was happening to the extent that I did not want to stay with my husband. I wanted to walk away. I thought, my world is coming to an end and I don't need anything. That was my state. So I think around fourth or fifth month of my pregnancy, she is a counselor. And luckily that time she used to live in the same apartment as mine. So I had a discussion with her. So she said, Tasneem, I feel you're showing signs of depression. You need help. As usual, in India, we don't consider mental health a problem. And we feel that, no, this is something we can handle. So initially, I was not very sure that what is she saying and how can it be. So I said, no, I don't think so. There is some other problem. Everybody is not being good to me. They're not taking care of, I was not willing to address the problem that it could be something related to my mental health. And I could be falling into that postpartum thing. Many a times postpartum can begin during your pregnancy also. This is what I was told. Anyways, so finally somehow I got convinced. I went to the doctor. I think I just kept on crying. She diagnosed me with chronic depression, and I was supposed to get psychiatric help. The psychologist asked me to also get psychiatric help and asked me to be put on medication because it was chronic depression. Then after 3-4 sessions I came back. Then I started talking to my husband. He was very supportive. My friends, we were very supportive. Then I realized I did not want to see medicines. People who are not able to handle, I'll not say that you should not take medicines. If your depression is something you're not able to handle, you should definitely go for medication. But luckily I was able to do, help myself become strong enough to do away with medication. I'm a lot into praying. I'm a lot into, keeping in self with keeping in touch with the spiritual part of my life. So somewhere it really helped me, you know so that talking out with friends, support of my husband. So my sister used to live in the same apartment as mine, so it really did help me a lot. So I still feel, I still have the signs of depression. It's been 5 years after my son was born, but somewhere I feel I still have, I'm able to manage, I'm able to cope up. So this is about my personal journey. But when I experienced it firsthand, like I had read about postpartum depression, I started reading up. I did not realize that it was such a major issue. And then
Right.
I realized around me, amongst my family and my friends, most of us suffer from postpartum depression. To the extent, I know somebody in my very extended family who had become suicidal after her child, after she gave birth to her second child. She was
Oh
not
dear.
like, I did not become disinterested in my baby, but I saw her, I heard about her that she was not interested in her baby. She would not pick her baby up. She would feel that, why were you born? And that child was also a much awaited child in the family, but she had become like that. So, and she comes from a small village, they have no idea about something called postpartum depression. They spoke to her. So all her symptoms were postpartum depression. They came to Agra for a mental checkup. Somebody sent them there. From Maharashtra, they came to Agra. It was supposed to be a mental problem, but they did not diagnose it as postpartum depression. Akta,
Right.
am I audible to you?
Your network is a little erratic, but you're audible. You go off in between. Are you there, Tasneem? Are you there? Okay, I think there is some network issue. So while Tasneem joins us back, Tasneem was speaking that postpartum depression is not necessary that starts once you have delivered the baby. Many a times, a lot of people experience depression while they have conceived, whether it is because of the hormonal changes that happen in the body or it is just because of certain disorders that are there. I am not a medical specialist, but I have seen this with a couple of people that I know that they did not enjoy their pregnancy. They felt as if they are ill. They felt as if, what has, kind of come on them and how do they deal with it. But gradually, with the support of the family, by eating healthy, by seeking help, they were able to manage it. A lot of us, when the baby is born, and of course, when the child is born, it comes with a lot of responsibilities. It comes with a lot of things that you need to do. You completely forget about your own well-being. You are tired, you're exhausted, you are sleepless because you're unable to sleep. And a lot of people say that you must sleep when the baby sleeps. Well, come to think of it, practically that doesn't happen because when the baby sleeps, there is so much more to do, which means that you are actually tired, fatigued, and that leads to being irritable. And everybody in the family would keep on saying, "Oh, तुम थक गए हो, इसलिए तुम ऐसे हो रहे हो." But nobody wants to dive deep to know as to what is the reason. The reason could be postpartum depression. Uh, many women experience when the baby is born or while they are in labor because of the acute pain that they go through. They either do not want to deliver or they just don't want to look at the baby. But the moment the baby is born and you look at that first sight, that smile on the baby's face, you are happy. But that is not what we are talking about over here. That anxiousness, the fear, the pain, the fatigue. We are talking much, much more beyond that. Welcome back, Tasneem. I just thought I will,
No, no,
kind of,
thank you for pitching in
yeah,
because I think
yeah,
somewhere there was an internet glitch there.
yes, not an issue. Please.
Okay, where did you lose me? At which point did you
Uh,
lose me?
you were talking about that in your extended family, there's somebody who didn't even want to look at the baby.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So, yeah, because see, small towns in big cities, we still are aware of such things. Small towns, they don't even know what postpartum depression is. For them, mental health is, oh my God, how can there be a mental health problem? मतलब ये तो पागल है. That is the label. So people are scared if even talking about going to a psychiatrist. Only mad people go to psychiatrist. They don't have that concept. Even normal people could need psychiatric or a help from a psychologist. So when I heard about her, I called her up, and while talking to her, I could relate a lot that yes, I did have, that similar symptoms, but hers was like really, really very extreme. She had acute postpartum depression. As I told you, to the extent that she was suicidal also. She even left her house twice or thrice. She just walked out. She ran away from her house and all, to such an extent. And somebody told the family that, ये पागल हो गई है, इसको पागल खाने ले जाओ. And they even got her to Agra for a mental health checkup. There
Oh,
she was started on medication. They gave her medication, but they did not consider it as postpartum. Because when I spoke to her, she had not even heard anything like that. कि ऐसा कुछ, postpartum depression, something like that happens to women. But when I spoke to her, she could relate, that yes, what you are telling me is right, and this is what happens to me. And then when I told her, that I faced something similar, and when she figured out that, okay, that, this person is not going to judge me, because so far people were judging her, and she was scared of telling her problems to people, because she was scared of that label ki pagal ho gayi hai, because that's why somewhere she was taken to a mental hospital in Agra for a checkup. So when she talked to me and she felt this is a problem with something somebody else also can have, and I'm not being judged because of my problem, this is like a medical condition, and she's trying to understand, so she opened up to me, and she was willing to talk it out to a peer group. I came across a friend, I'm forgetting the name, they run this peer group. I'll share it later with you, Akta. uh, they they train family members and people to talk to the patient. We will consider somebody like that as a patient only, in medical terms.
right,
Very important to have people supporting you. Everything is not medicine, because depression, when you talk about depression, any kind of depression, okay, medicines do help, but they are just as a support. But if you don't have people around you, in your family, in your friends, where you can open your heart to, it is very, very difficult. आप अंदर घुट रहे होते हो, and you have already given you, it's a new life has come out of you. You have to handle a new life. Somebody is dependent on you, and you're not able to take care of your own self. So you're already scared. When you're not able to take, you don't know what is happening to you, how will you be able to help a helpless baby?
right.
Mentally you are so disturbed, you're so down, you don't know why you are crying nonstop. Like I would just cry and I would not know मैं क्यों रो रही हूँ.
But
I was
Tasneem,
not. हाँ.
I want to ask you that, since you have experienced this and you know a few more people who have been through this, what is the primary reason that such a thing happens, whether it is during a pregnancy or post a delivery? Is it because of some hormonal disbalance in the body, or is it because that you do not have the care and the attention that one must get during that time, or what is it that why does this happen? If there is anything that you would know about it.
See, as far as I have understood, is like medically speaking, I was told that because of the upheaval in the hormonal levels. So it could be because of that also. And then in India, what I have experienced around me and I've seen, we women, we put ourselves always at the back for everything. Even during our pregnancies also, there are very few women who are very lucky जिनको पलकों पे उठाकर रखा जाता है कि she needs to be taken care of. And we do it to ourselves also. We don't really take care of ourselves. Our needs are always put in the back burner. So during pregnancy, many times when you actually need that care and attention, you don't get it, because you have never we never seek that for ourselves. And when we actually need it, people are not used to giving us that, we don't get it then also. So
Right,
somewhere it mounts up. Already your hormonals, they are all here and there. You're feeling down, that entire overwhelming feeling of a new life, if you're not keeping well along with it, plus you're not being taken care of, so it just makes it
builds up.
much more severe.
Absolutely.
So this is what I feel happens, because as I told you, I'm coming across a lot of women who are coming out with this postpartum depression thing,
Yes.
and it is very surprising. Another thing, I feel why so much of postpartum depression medically, maybe it is possible because of the I'll just tell you one experience. Before I had my first baby, I had two miscarriages. Okay. So I went through a lot of medical checkups and all. So one of the doctors told me the rate of miscarriages and abortions has gone up so much, because if you look back some 10, 20, 30 years back, we would not hear so many miscarriages, about so many miscarriages. So why
Right.
suddenly it has increased? It's all about adulterated food that we eat.
Adulteration.
Okay.
True.
So much of hormones, so much of injections being given to food and everything. So it is somewhere playing havoc with our body.
Right.
If you see children nowadays, their puberty age is come
Reduce.
down.
Yeah.
It has reduced, it has come down. So it's all because of food that we are eating. We are all eating hybrid. I don't know, hybrid is not the right word to use. The food injected with hormonal injections and all. So somewhere I'm just trying to relate. I'm coming back to the postpartum thing. So the rate of miscarriages, which has increased in women in India especially, is crazy. For both my deliveries, I went to AIMS because I had a very tough time with all the private hospitals. The cases were mind boggling. Like, I had patients who had had 8 miscarriages, 9 miscarriages, like that. Not even a single child till date then, and 8 miscarriages. Imagine.
Oh
And I
God.
would just feel that with 2 miscarriages, I'm already shattered. My mental health is gone for a toss. So with 8 miscarriages, how is this woman even, thinking? How is her mind working? So again, coming back to, it's all our hormones have gone for a toss. So somewhere again, this postpartum thing, earlier maybe our mothers, our grandmothers would have had experienced it, but I don't think so to that extent. And earlier, the family setup was different, the family life was different. Now we are more into nuclear families. The lifestyle we lead is so stressful, it is so demanding. uh, the food we eat, the way we live, the way we don't exercise, all these things. I think the accumulation of all these things somewhere leads to these issues with us, be it mental health issues or body health issues. So
True.
somewhere
True.
I think it is responsible.
Yeah. And like you said that women tend to put themselves at the back burner, and when you are fatigued post the delivery or during the pregnancy, and when you then start demanding the time and attention and care, then people start saying that tantrums. That's one of the comments that we've got on Facebook. Then, because we didn't demand it, and now we are, so then that is termed as tantrums without people realizing that that genuinely might be the need of the hour. Because um, your body is going through so many changes, your emotion, everything is determined by that. And also, I feel that, when once you have given birth to a child, so many changes that have taken in you, many don't reverse back, you know, and or it is very, very difficult and challenging to get back to where you were or how you were, whether it is in terms of your uh, physical being or, the strength, the energy that you have. And sometimes that also becomes a cause for you to feel that you are not you, right? And
No, no,
when
I
that
agree
kind
to
of a
it.
feel,
Yeah. Huh.
yeah, and when
No, no,
that kind of
sorry,
feeling
sorry.
sets in, that definitely leads to a lot more things, and in certain cases, it leads to severe impact. Where you start feeling suicidal, as you said, because you are losing your identity. So a beautiful experience of being a mother gets totally taken away because the lady has not been given that care. That is one. Second, as I've seen that you said that the example that you quoted, that 8 miscarriages or anybody who's been through that ordeal is indeed very, very difficult. I mean, I cannot say that I can relate to it, but I can understand because, I've also had a late pregnancy and I was made through, many and more tests and everything. And my very first scan was not a very positive scan, and it led to many other things. But anyhow, as I say, all's well that ends well. But we had a mother who, like I think 2 or 3 months back, had shared, and she also runs, prenatal courses for women, where she made a very, very impactful statement. And I never forget that the future parents do not get, how do I put it, get trained from a body or mind when they start planning to have a baby. They are trained, the body, mind, and everything, and the soul is trained from the time that they attain puberty, because your body hormones start changing from then. So the way you are treated then and in those growing years is how your body would respond when you are trying to become parents, and it leads to many other things. So, women in India, young girls also, typically in our country, are have always been made to be at the back. So does it all stem from there?
It
It's a
could
very,
be. It could be,
it's something
Ekta.
that we all need to think about. Yeah.
Yeah, how we train our kids, both boys and girls, I would say. Okay, there is one more point I think I would like to add when I'm just rethinking about my own journey during my motherhood. Another thing, what I feel, especially for us in cities, when we are career oriented and when we have a child and we sit back at home, because this is another thing which I have felt with many other of my friends who had to, stop working and had to stay back at home. That, when you're used to working outside, when you're used to be independent, your mind works in a very different way. You're not used to be homebound, but you have no choice. You cannot leave your child to anybody else, but you cannot go out and work also. So I think somewhere there also it plays a havoc in your mind. you know
True.
After a point of time, it starts getting onto you, because you just feel, where is my life going? What am I doing? I used to be, handling so many people. I used to be doing so many projects. And what am I doing? I'm changing a nappy. I'm making a meal. Because, see, housework, I'm not degrading a housewife. A homemaker also is a very important job. A house cannot run just on its own, it needs to be planned. But, for women who are used to a career outside of their home, for them, they start feeling, okay, this is a very routine job I'm doing. I can do this while I can work in the office also, because they're used to that kind of a life. So somewhere, that emptiness is there in their mind, so it starts eating them up inside. And this
That's what I
also
said. Na?
be
You are not you. You are totally
ah
changed. Right.
so that it starts eating you up, inside, because you just feel, my life, I'm wasting my life. What am I doing? What am I doing? And then you see your friends, your colleagues, they are going way ahead. They're going places, and you are just sitting at home and changing nappies. Because I remember, after my first baby, she was about a year old, and I had one of my friends, they were looking to for a researcher for a film, and she came from Mumbai. They commented my name. So this lady, she came, and I went to meet her in Connaught Place over a cup of coffee. And she looked at my CV and she told me, Tasneem, you are overqualified for this work. I said, but I need to do something. I'm willing to do this research work. I'm fine. But she said, you're overqualified. And you will not believe it. I think because my daughter's pregnancy was a very difficult one for me. So that whole of 9 months, I was homebound. And another 1 year after I had her, I was hardly going out and meeting people. So I was not able to talk to her properly. I was looking for words in English. I was not able to communicate. And I came back and I cried. And I told my husband, I was feeling so foolish in front of her, because I was looking for words in my mind. I was not getting the proper words to talk to her. And here she was looking at my CV and telling me, but you are overqualified. How can I ask you to do this work? And I'm telling her, no, please let me work. I'm begging her, nahi, main kar lungi, main kar lungi. So then I realized that somewhere, in my subconscious mind, I was feeling very, very low. I was not feeling, very, what do I say? I was feeling I was not doing something fruitful and meaningful in my life. Okay, having a baby, taking care of her, the housework was there. But for me, that was not enough for me. So somewhere I feel that depression, which, as I said earlier, okay, somewhere it had started after my first baby only, which I was not able to address. And it really, really triggered and aggravated during my second baby. And it still has continued. because I did not go for medication. I resort to different things. I talk to friends. I pray a lot. I'm more into that spiritual healing for myself. So maybe medication would have, but then again, medication, I don't want to go into it. But
Right.
I would request and I would tell women out there that if you feel that you need medication, please don't hesitate, don't shy away. Go and get yourself that treatment, because it is
Absolutely.
very important, because an unhappy mother cannot bring up happy children.
Very
And
rightly said.
a woman can make the home happy.
True.
Whatever said and done, even if you put yourself in the back seat, it is you who will make your home happy. It is you who will give those positive and happy vibes to your children. And children are very, very, they are very sensitive. They pick up your emotions just like that. So if you're not happy, you cannot make your children happy. And I've seen that firsthand with myself.
So, when your second born was, when your son was born, he's the younger one, and you felt, all through your pregnancy period and then later that also, did that have an impact in how you dealt with your children at that point of time?
Yes, I with my first child, I was very, very harsh on her. I would just scream at her. I would just shout at her, because I had no control over my emotions. And most of the time with us, what happens? The easiest target is the child, because the child cannot retaliate back. You cannot fight with your mother-in-law. You cannot fight with your husband. You cannot do anything with anybody else. So the child is an easy target. I'm very sorry. I have been that kind of a mother for a period of time in my life, and I feel very sorry to my child about that. But then I started feeling that I'm being very, very, cruel to my child at a point of time. What has she done? She has no clue why am I getting angry. But actually, even then, I did not have a clue why I was behaving like that. I understood that during my second pregnancy. So that is what I'm saying. At times you don't even realize that this is what is happening to you. And after my second pregnancy, because I understood that term, and around me, most of my friends, my acquaintances, I could hear them saying कि हाँ हम तो depression के मरीज है. Like, we would be out eating, there is a sweet dish, oh, we will finish it because हम depression के मरीज है, हम तो depression के मरीज है. All the new moms now say this around me. So this is how it used to happen with me.
Right. True, but I think it's a very very serious matter, and a lot of us need to make people aware about postpartum depression and in general about the mental well-being, that it is not a taboo. It is okay to seek help. When we have fever or when we have some ailment, we do reach out to friends and family for help and support. We do go to a doctor to get ourselves treated, especially when we have the physical ailment. Then why is it that most shy away when it comes to any mental well-being issues? That is also a part of you, and that may lead to many other complications in life. So it's high time that families come forward, stop using the word that these are tantrums that one is throwing or you're trying to seek attention. Well, let us say that for 1% one is trying to seek attention. Give that attention. How much will it make a difference if you pamper and you care for someone, rather than just saying and demeaning that you are, putting tantrums. Because what one goes through, only that person knows. Like I remember that post my delivery, I had severe aches and pains in my arm. And I always thought that it is because, I was holding the baby in my hand and she used to sleep on my arm. So it is because of that. It's after 2.5 years, when it reached a point where I could not bear it, did I reach out to a doctor, because I didn't know which doctor to go to firstly. And then, I went to an orthopedic and he told me that, okay, take some medication, and that didn't help. And then he told me, okay, if, it doesn't help, then, my wrist used to pain. And because of that, my entire arm and shoulder used to pain. So then they said, okay, maybe, we'll have to give you some injections in the wrist. I said, oh, I'm not getting these injections done. It's only later when a maternal uncle of mine guided me that why don't you go see a neurologist? That's when I realized, when the doctor told me that you have something called as nerve, there is pressure on your nerve. And many a time, post the delivery, because of water retention in the body, this happened. And I was experiencing that because the pain was severe. It absolutely unbearable. I took the medication, you know, and why are we shying away? So this means, when you acknowledge that or you were diagnosed and why did you reach out to the counselor? Let me ask you that first. You mentioned that when you were in your fourth month of pregnancy, you reached out. Did you see something very, very different about you? What was that trigger point which, pushed you to, no, I need to go speak to somebody about this?
Akta, as I told you, there was a friend living in my apartment, and she is a counselor, but she is a counselor she's into a different field, but she's a counselor. So I used to discuss with her that, she saw my condition. I would just cry, 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 and I was feeling like my whole world is coming to an end. So she told me that, Tasneem, I think you should go and seek professional help, because, and you need somebody who can deal with your problem. I am into a different field, though I'm a counselor, I can only guide you up to a certain point. And you need somebody neutral, because she told me that I'm close to you. So I might not be able to give you objective, suggestions, because I might get biased, because whatever you're telling me
Right.
that you are facing problems with these people, because I'm your friend, I could have a biased opinion. Maybe this is not the problem which actually you're feeling is a problem. So you need a neutral opinion also. See, going to a psychologist or a psychiatrist gives you a neutral opinion. Why? Because they don't know you or the other people that you might be facing a problem with, so they can set an objective ground for you, and then they can start dissecting that where does the problem lie. So this is what my friend did tell me, that I feel that you are facing a problem with depression, but it's better to get an objective view. So she recommended me to one psychologist. I went there, and yes, I was diagnosed with this depression thing. It had to do with postpartum.
Yeah. And now that your son is 5 and your daughter is 10, how are you today? I mean, in the current things, and because the kind of work that you do requires a lot of detailed analysis. You do research, you do content writing. So, how has the journey been so far? And what all did you do? One, you spoke that you were on the spiritual path, you did meditation, and you spoke to friends and family. What other things you did which made you bounce back, which made you strong, and here that you're talking about it?
Ekta, see, apart from my spiritual leanings and the help I sought from, the professional and the family, friends help I sought, somewhere I feel I started putting myself also in the front. I need this for myself. I want to do this. Because, somewhere when you keep your feelings bottled up inside for a very long time, and then, compiled with your depression problem also, then there is no way out. You need to open up, you need to keep yourself also first, that this is what I enjoy doing. Start. I remember talking to somebody, a guest who had come to my house, and they had some idea about these, cycle. They work a lot in women field and all that stuff. So she told me that, okay, if you feel things like that, take your baby out in a pram. If you're not able to leave the baby behind, go out for a walk. When your husband comes home, leave the baby in his care, go sit alone, go and have a coffee somewhere, go and watch a movie on your own, do something that you like doing. You know that me time is very important for you to feel valued. We have to first value our own self. In depression, what happens? You don't start, you stop taking care of yourself. So it has to see, medicines, doctor and all, they'll help you, but if you don't start helping yourself first, then nobody can help you. Even your friends
Absolutely.
and family, how much of pep talk you get from anybody, it will not help you. So you have to start believing in yourself, and you have to start stating your needs. Don't become demanding. I'm not saying कि नहीं अब मेरा ही चलेगा और कुछ नहीं चलेगा, nothing like that, but little by little, step by steps, at least start taking baby steps for yourself.
True.
You
Very
cannot.
good.
Yeah, please.
Absolutely bang on. So through this one topic that we are speaking about, which is postpartum depression, Tasneem has brought out a very important point. Take care of your own self. Acceptance. Till you accept one, that there is a problem. Two, you seek guidance and counseling or help as the case may be. And third, you want to fix it. As you said, no amount of friendly talks, pep talks, or someone making you feel good will help unless you want to feel good. And only you yourself can be responsible to make yourself feel good. And I've very, very rightly, again, Tasneem said that a happy lady or a happy mother rears happy children. Yes, very, very, very important things that you have raised here, Tasneem. So, hats off to you to have acknowledged all that you've experienced on a platform like ours, where you've come forward to talk about this and share. But today, how is it with your children? How do they remember anything where because of your not being so well mentally, the impact that it had? Have you been able to how do I say fix it, mend it, the bonding that is there with the children? How is it today?
Fortunately, my daughter was too small and she does not remember anything that, I used to be, though they tell me that you hardly used to smile. My daughter used to tell me that, कि आप smile नहीं करते हो, आप smiling mama नहीं हो. You're always angry, And actually, this sentence I used to get from a lot of other people I knew. They used to tell me, Tasneema, stop smiling altogether. You don't smile. You're always frowning. There is a frown on your face all the time, which I did not really know that, this is how I used to look to people outside. And this is what the impression I was giving to people outside. So yes, I am working on it still. I hope I have been able to achieve some part of it, that I don't look angry always. And I hope I'm smiling more often these days. So yes, this is the feedback my children gave me, especially my daughter. So I'm more mindful of it now. I don't get angry. If I get angry, I go and hug them, and then they say कि गुस्सा ही होना था तो प्यार क्यों कर रहे हो दोबारा, But okay, so now it's more balanced, I feel, with them. But yes, I'm improving. I'm hoping to be a better mom with each passing day.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. That's wonderful. So, thank you so much, Tasneem, that, you brought out very important aspect today. And a lot of people need to understand this, that postpartum depression is not just a word, it is a reality when many people experience it and have been a victim of it. Many a times it goes unnoticed and we don't, it has been said, कि अच्छा तुम थक गए हो या तुम tantrums दिखा रहे हो, and so on and so forth. But seek help, seek guidance, put yourself in front. It is absolutely okay to have that me time. It is absolutely okay, that you leave the baby with the father or with another family member and have that time out for yourself. Because that, whatever, that 30, 40 minutes or an hour to your own self, maybe once or twice or thrice a week, will make a world of a difference. Will let you go meet your friends, will let you do what you want to, as Tasneem said. And Tasneem, completely agree with you because, again, taking cues from my own journey, I remember my daughter was about, I think, I guess, 6 months old, and we had to go somewhere. And I think that was the first time that I looked at the mirror and saw myself. And I was like, oh my God, is this me? Totally unkept. And because she was a winter baby, so, you were all, hidden behind the sweaters and everything. And that's when I told my husband, I said, hello, this is not me. I don't recognize myself. So then I said, okay, once a month or once in 20 days, I need that time off where I go pamper myself. You take care of the baby. Not that he wasn't, but, that exclusive me time that I would go out, meet with my friends, go make and look myself presentable and everything. And that made a whole lot of a difference because there was something that you were looking forward to. And it also, made the child realize, okay, mommy can go out. Mommy also has work to do, or mommy has a life of her own. So thank you so much, Tasneem, for bringing this topic. It was indeed very, very important to talk about this. And, you know, since you do a lot of content writing with regards to parenting, right? And, I'm sure you have your own first-hand experience on that. And that in itself is a testimony that, you are doing great with your children. And, keep up the good work, continue to be, working on your own self and giving the due importance and recognition to yourself, because I know that you do a lot of content writing and a lot of documentary with regards to women also. And that, of course, comes from your own experience and all the other people that you know. So that's wonderful. So, but, before I let you go, I'd like you to give one message for all the fellow mothers who are watching us or who would eventually watch this show. What is that one piece of advice that you would like to convey?
Thank you, Ekta, first of all, for having me over. And I would like to end this journey with you here with, just one thing. When we are giving birth to a new life, we are also giving birth to a mother within us, Till date, we were just a wife. We were not a mother. A baby born into our world, we also became a mother. We birthed a mother also. So love yourself. If you have a problem, speak it out, address it. Don't put yourself at the back of anything, because if you're not happy, you will not be able to bring up a happy child. So a new life is in your hand. To bring it up in a good way, in the best way. Be your best for yourself also. So that's it. So all the new moms to be, and already mothers who might be going through this postpartum thing, take care and seek out, reach out. There are women who I am sure are willing to help each other, lift each other up. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So thank you, Tasneem, from the Motherhood Club Talk Show, for being with us, for talking to us on a very, very important topic. And let's accept the reality, fix it, take charge of our own lives, set examples. If you want to raise children who, respect, value, love themselves so that they grow into being better human beings, then as they say, that charity begins at home. If you take care of yourself, if you are happy, you will raise happy children, and you will raise children who will, eventually respect and take care of people around them. So till we come back again with another journey of a mother, where, each mother's journey is unique and every conversation that we have here is different. And I'm sure that, even if we have the same topic spoken about, by different mothers, there will be something different that each one of them will bring out, because as they say that, every mother is unique, every journey is unique. So till we come back with another unique journey, take care, stay safe. And once again, thank you so much, Tasneem, for being on the show. And we shall be back with another journey very soon. Till then, stay tuned. This is Ekta Sehgal Malhotra at the Motherhood Club Talk Show. Stay safe and have a great evening ahead. Namaste, salam, sat sri akal. Take care.